Salut! Sunt eu, un haiduc și te rog, iubirea mea, primește fericirea. Alo, alo, sunt eu, Picasso, ți-am dat bip și sunt voinic, dar să știi, nu-ți cer nimic. Vrei să pleci, dar numai ei, numai ei, numai ei.
Greetings, Traveling Matt here, reporting live from Chernivitsi bus station in Ukraine, and I'm going to be telling you about what I did yesterday. So yesterday was a bit of an adventure because we didn't quite know how it was going to happen. The idea was to wake up fairly early, which we didn't, as always, and then Penny would take us down to forgetting to say the name of the place, Sigte Maramorish, which is the border town basically, and she would take us there. We would walk across the border into Ukraine and then try and get to Chernivitsi. Now that looks very easy to do on the map, but the problem is the border town on the Ukrainian side, which I think the Romanians call Slatina, is little more than a village, and the train line that there is there actually goes the opposite direction up to Lvov, so you can't get to Chernivitsi very easily from there, and there is a bus but it leaves early in the morning, one a day. So we were like, will we actually be able to get to Chernivitsi? So the backup plan was we'd go over there, and if we couldn't get to Chernivitsi, we'd go back over the border and then take the train through Romania overnight. That was the plan, but we wanted to try Ukraine first. Of course, Tom and I went to Ukraine a year and a half ago and loved it, and he'd be desperate to go back, so wanted to have a little Ukrainian adventure. Crossed over the border really easy. It was like completely empty and very atmospheric. It was a wooden bridge over the river that we crossed, so it really felt like you were going from one place to the other. And on the other side there was one taxi waiting, and he was just not going to take us to Chernivitsi for less than $250, which, you know, I'd set a maximum of 100 quid, which I thought was pretty fair. It was 250 kilometres, it's a long way, but, you know, not considering that, like, you know, a monthly wage here is probably, you know, 200-300 quid, and 100 quid one way, I think it's not a bad deal. But anyway, no way was it happening. We walked up the hill at a sleepy little village. There was a bar there. So we went in the bar, had a coffee, and there was a couple of old guys sat outside, and one was a taxi driver. And he agreed to take us to a town called Rakhiv. And we looked, and it was about 50 kilometres away, and he wanted me 30 quid for that. So I was go on then, because he said there were buses from Rakhiv. So we went to this Rakhiv. The countryside was absolutely gorgeous. It's in the Ukrainian Carpathian mountains. And, like, when you think of Ukraine, you think of this huge flat country, and most of it is. But the actual bit in the Carpathians is beautiful. Got a little bit of a footage of that, but not too much. We got to, and of course the other thing was we were running alongside the border, so the road was literally the border, and there was quite a few soldiers, there was checkpoints, and there was all new barbed wire being put along. So it was like the first sign that this is a country at war. But that was about it really. Then got to Rakhiv, and we had a couple of hours before the bus. So we bought some souvenirs because Tom loves the Ukrainian kitsch, and we we went into the town and we wanted to find a post office to send some postcards. So we were looking, we found this one said Nova Pochta, which means new post office. So we went there, but we couldn't send anything from there because you needed Ukrainian ID. And it turned out it was some like sort of post or courier service. But this guy showed us where the post office was, the actual post office, and it was one of those amazing Soviet era ones with like mosaics on the wall and stuff. And we bought a load of postcards and we sent them and wrote them and stuff, and that was cool. And so then we went back through the town and got a shawarma by the bus station, and Tom also bought he found like a hip flask with glasses with the Ukraine emblem on, so he bought that. And then we got some drinks and got on the bus. It wasn't really a bus; it was more a minibus. But it went all the way to a town called Kolomnia, I think it was called. So the distance probably did about 110, 120 kilometres, and Kolomnia was 77 kilometres short of Chernivitsi. Dozed to some of it, awake for most of it. Glorious alpine scenery. Unfortunately, the bus, it was one of those where they got like adverts plastered along the side. I don't know if you know what I mean, but they're done with dots, so you can see out, but people can't see in. But of course, it makes any filming through it really naff. So I didn't actually get any filming of that section. But it was, and because it was a minibus, I couldn't even read either. But it was nice, just watching the world go by. And saying that this is a poor country and at war, there was a lot of new building around these like kind of spa resorts in the mountains, and there was loads of people there. I think this is where a lot of Ukrainians go on holiday. So we got into Chernivitsi, and what a wonderful city. I mean, we haven't unfortunately had time to explore it, but it looks a bit like Lvov, but more up and down. Glorious cobbled streets, it's great. Looks like an Austro-Hungarian city. It looks far nicer than any of the cities we've visited so far. And somewhere where we really were spending a few days. I mean, it's meant to be about 250,000 people, which is the same as Stoke-on-Trent. It looks bigger. I mean, it looks like a 500,000 city. It looks a lot grander than it actually is. But we drove through there to our apartment that we booked for the night, which was a 3-bedroom, like Khrushcheva type apartment. And Tom loved that because anything Soviet he loves. And we then went to the local shop and bought some beers and a bit of meat and cheese, and we dined in the apartment and had a chat, and then went to bed. So that was yesterday. As for today's adventures, keep watching, but more importantly,
vrei să pleci, dar numai ei, numai ei, numai ei, chipul tău și dragostea din tei, mi-amintesc de ochii tăi.
Te sun să-ți spun ce simt acum. Alo, iubirea mea, sunt eu, fericirea.